The Somali semi-autonomous state of Puntland has rejected Parliament's approval of a plan to overhaul the electoral process. It replaces an indirect electoral system based on clans with one person, one vote. The proposal also grants Somalia's president the power to appoint and dismiss the Prime Minister. That power was previously with Parliament. Puntland politicians now say they're no longer going to recognise federal institutions. I want to show you the region we're talking about here. Puntland is in northern Somalia. The region's generally regarded as being more stable than the south, and it's home to around 5 million people. Unlike its neighbour, the breakaway province of Somaliland, Puntland isn't seeking independence. Instead, it's functioned as a semi-autonomous region since 1998. We're going to bring in Mohamud Khadir Salah Donyali. He's the Minister of Agriculture and Irrigation for Somalia's Puntland state, and he's joining us from Garowe. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. What are your objections to these changes?
And thank you for having me, Mr. Rob, and also thank you for Al Jazeera for giving us this opportunity to air our concerns and what is happening in the country. And basically, we have witnessed on Saturday was actually the adoption of a new constitution, and disregarding the constitution that was agreed and adopted on the 1st of August 2012, which all Somalis has signed up to it. And what we actually objecting is that the process that actually the reform of the process has taken place. So Puntland has always been supportive of finalization of constitution and the remaining articles, which were actually basically includes the status of the capital city, the division of power between the federal institutions and the federal member states, the fiscal federalism, the national security architecture, the stabilization of a constitutional court, the judicial model, as well as the resource and the revenues sharing. So this was actually the articles that should finalize the professional constitution that was adopted back in 2012. However, what we have witnessed in the past few months and weeks and days is adopting a new constitution, and therefore even the constitution stipulates the process how it should be conducted, which means consultation with the federal member states, as well as the public.
Let me ask you about that. Forgive me for interrupting you, but I do want to ask you about that, because the process is, if I understand it correctly, has been debated in federal parliament for weeks and it's then been passed. I understand the Speaker of the lower house is quoted as saying that there was a significant majority of members were in favour of amending the constitution, but this is therefore part of the process that you're describing, and therefore it may not be the way to have turned out the way that Puntland would like, but it does seem to have gone through some sort of process in order to be voted on.
No, absolutely not. It's not how Puntland would like to see it. Basically, what happened is that they have changed 45 articles, 195 sub-articles, introduced 19 new articles, as well as 94 sub-articles. This constitutes as a whole new constitution. It's not the review process that Puntland has always supportive in finalizing the professional constitution. Hassan Sheikh Mohamud and his team deliberately decided to pursue a path of unconstitutionally, meaning reverting all progress that has been made the last 24 years, politically and socially, which causes unnecessary political tension, polarization since his return to power. The focus should have been strengthening the country's security and eradication of the terror groups. That was actually what's supposed to be. And Puntland has always been supporting the process, and we always question the process that should be done. But Puntland's position is being consistent, and which means is that we support the finalization of the constitution. However, as I indicated, the areas that remains was actually clear. That has not been done. President Hassan Sheikh has put his all efforts to subvert the independence of the institution and establish a system that suits his personal ambitions. And that is something that Puntland has consistently over the last 25 years stood to defend. as unity of the country to remain, and not as we go back to dictatorship back in the early 60s and 70s and 80s.
Mohamud Abdul Qadir Salah
all
Donyale, please forgive me for interrupting you. I'm afraid we are out of time, but I am very grateful to you for being with us on Al Jazeera. Thank you very much indeed.